Hi everyone, welcome back to In My Twenties, the podcast with me, your host, Bookie Smart Sulaiman. Excited for today's episode. We're going to be talking about how to build the confidence to follow your purpose. And I've gotten different questions around this topic, like how are you so confident, or how do you know what your purpose is? Should you be pursuing your purpose? Will it find you? Is your purpose the same thing as your passion? So we're going to talk about it today, and I'm going to read, of course, the newsletter associated with this podcast, and then I'm going to just explain it, talk about it, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Of course, if you do, like I always say, please like it, share it, let me know in the comments, leave me a rating on anywhere you're listening to this podcast on audio. If it's on YouTube, then definitely leave me a comment, let me know what you think about it, and I will see you in the next one. I'm going to start this off by actually introducing myself. This was something I wrote, I think, when I was 25, and I wanted to become more known for the person that I was or am, rather than my identity being rooted in work. I think up until 25, I had been searching for the meaning of life in work and trying to do everything under the sun to figure that out. And I started just thinking about how do you want people to see you that is not necessarily linked to work. So here's a brief introduction of myself. My name is Bookie. I am a passionate, ambitious, kind and go-getter of a girl. I'm a daughter, a sister, here it was girlfriend. I'm now someone's wife. I am best friends with some of the most amazing people in life. Traveling makes me the happiest girl you will find, but I get the same way when I'm around my parents, brothers, and the best of friends. I enjoy taking myself on solo dates and have a separate bank account for where I save up for that. I love reading books. My favorite genre is memoirs. I went snorkeling for the first time in 2019, and I have done it so many more times since then. I love jet skiing. I am your happy-go-lucky, forever optimistic, glasses half full kind of girl, because I'm a believer that life is beautiful and generous. I'm a bit long-winded and I talk a lot, especially about things that I'm passionate about. I love the great outdoors, but I also enjoy intimate indoors, hosting my friends over and celebrating in general. I truly believe that life is what you make of it, and I have crazy, daring faith for all of my dreams. I'm a big Jesus fan, and mornings are now my new favorite time because I get to spend time with him there. Working out is something I love to do, I know, right? Because it keeps me centered and balanced, and it helps me build discipline in life, really. I like to work, actually, but I'd prefer to work to live rather than live to work. I'm always learning about patience, and these days I'm practicing giving people what they need: space, grace, or just the listening ear. I love life. I'm grateful for every day and for everyone I meet. I am always learning. I am always expecting the best to happen, and I am always grateful. So that is a brief introduction about me. And the reason I have put that out first is because when I think about the confidence that I have, or when people ask me, how are you so confident? Is this something that, is it natural? Have you, were you born with this sort of confidence, or have you worked on yourself over the years? And when I think about that question, I go back to the core of who I am. And so when I wrote this, it was trying to figure out, okay, where does my confidence come from? And you can kind of pull it out from everything that I've said, right, or written. I get my confidence from my family. They're my biggest cheerleaders and my supporters. I get my confidence from my friends, from my girlfriends, from my husband. I get my confidence from solo dates and reading a lot of memoirs and realizing that truly everyone in life is just faking it for the most part and hoping that we all get to where we want to be, and there's nothing that is impossible if you really put your mind to do something, right? I have read Michelle Obama's memoir. I have read memoirs of other now famous people who obviously did not grow up famous, who just did put one right thing in front of another right thing, or put one foot in front of the other to get them to where they are. And so all of the things that I do all the things that I am is as a result of all of those different aspects of my life, right? Traveling gives me perspective to realize how small this world is, and also how you can do like really nice things and good things, and that is all well and good, but it's really about like the impact that you have, which I always talk about in these podcasts, in my newsletters, like what is the impact of your life going to be? What is your legacy of life going to be? And so traveling really helps me cultivate like perspective. It helps me to improve my confidence, because I like to speak to people when I travel, especially when I'm like solo traveling. Of course, I need people to make it a good trip. So just going for it really, and realizing that like it's not that scary, it's not that hard. Also believing in myself and knowing that I can do hard things, right? I can travel my own in great big cities and meet people and strike up, relationships and friendships from conversations that I've had with them. And these are the kind of things that really help me to appear confident. Of course, also naturally, I think that I was never really like a shy kid growing up. I was always that curious kid. I was always the one like raising up my hands to ask questions at school. I was always eager to like meet new people. I was always wanting to be the person who would take the new girl around. I won awards for being like the friendliest girl in school. So all of those things, right, contribute to the person that you're seeing here today. So I hope that kind of gives you context for the kind of person that I am and how I've gotten here with regards to my confidence. So a big part of my confidence as well, especially in my 20s, has been like walking in my purpose. And I'm going to talk a little bit about purpose, because I know that in your 20s, that's probably one of the 4 questions in your mind, like top of mind, is what am I here to do? What is my purpose? And every day we're all trying to chase our purpose or follow our purpose. And there's now questions around, should your purpose also be your passion, or are they different? Are they related? So I'm going to talk a little bit about all of that. But before I do, I want you to take a minute from listening to this podcast and actually think about how you would like to introduce yourself without what you do or what you've accomplished. So from everything that I've said about myself in my introduction, there's no, this is the place that I've worked, this is the accomplishment that I've had, I've done this, I've done that, which I think a lot of us are used to doing or saying. Like if someone asked me for my bio, right, I'm trying to bring out all of the accomplishments that I have. But these days, especially when I'm meeting new people, I tend not to actually ask them like, so what do you do, or where did you go to school, or any of those like accomplishments type questions. I'm asking them like, oh, where was the last place you traveled to? What is on your bucket list? What are you passionate about? What exciting thing or project are you working on? Tell me about your favorite country. All of these questions for me help me to build like intimacy with someone really quickly and get them to trust me, get them to open up, be a bit more vulnerable, which I love. Like I always say, everything is that deep. So I think that it's important to like share those parts of your life with people that you can trust. So yeah, take a minute, think about how you want to introduce yourself without your accomplishments. If you can, or you're feeling brave enough, I would love for you to write it in the comments, or put this up on your story and do an introduction of yourself without what you do. Maybe also put it in the your feedback on the podcast episode, or in the newsletter chats. There's so many places where you can write. So I just want to hear from you guys, right? So definitely do that. Now, about following your passion versus your purpose, I want to say one thing. Passions change, but purpose remains. I've written here, your passion is something that you are good at, whereas your purpose is what you are here to do. I want to pause, because I know that sometimes when people hear that about purpose, it's like, oh, great. Now, like, what is that question? Like, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean what I'm here to do? Is it one thing? Is it many things? Relax, I'm going to get to it. So your purpose will often take many forms in different ways in different seasons, but it will all come back to the same thing. For me, as a Christian, I believe that our core purpose in life is to truly enjoy God and to give Him glory in all that we do. And really, it has been as simple and easy as that. I remember when I was 21, coming out of uni, got out of uni at 20, and like a year later, I was kind of like, all right, so we've gone through this whole education system. You've got the job now. You've been working for about a year. What exactly am I supposed to, like, what is the rest of my life going to look like? Which I think we put so much pressure on ourselves in our 20s to kind of figure that out. Like, what is the reason I'm here for? And we can spiral out of control with that. We can go into analysis paralysis. We can start just chasing money, thinking maybe it's accumulating wealth and money. We can think it's about climbing up the corporate ladder, or just all of these external things. But really, I think your purpose is truly intrinsic. And as a person of faith, I think it really is as simple as giving God glory in all that you do. And when I explained that purpose will take many forms and in different seasons, in different ways, I think that's truly what it is. For me, I believe that my purpose in each season kind of is similar but changes. But then there's a core mission or a core theme in all that I do, which is, bringing the glory back to God. So whether that is podcasting, whether that is in my newsletter, whether that is at work, right? Like doing really great work that people would see and people would say, wow, this girl is a master at her craft, and that would give glory to God. Or someone would ask me, like, how are you able to do the things that you do? And I'll be able to share that a big part of where I get my confidence from, where I get my wisdom from, my grace, everything about me is because of God and because of my relationship with Him, and knowing my identity is rooted in God, and therefore not letting whatever the world says to define me. That truly, in a nutshell, is, I think, what all of our purpose is really to enjoy God, foster and nurture a relationship with Him, and give Him glory in all that you do. There's a Bible verse that I love that truly explains how I think purpose works, right? It's in Ecclesiastes 9, and it says there is a time for everything. And this verse is just such an anchor for me when I feel like time may be running out, especially in our 20s, when we think there's a million and one things that we could do, right? You could be chasing the career ladder and just climbing up the ranks and trying to do everything you can to get promoted. You could be chasing wealth and trying to get yourself 5, 6, 11 jobs to make as much money. You could be trying to gather friends as much as you can because you just don't want to be alone or be lonely, right? But I think that especially in your 20s, if you grasp this core thing about there is a time for everything, you will never quite be unsure of, like, am I following my purpose? Am I doing the right thing to get me closer to my purpose, right? Because you know that your purpose really is to enjoy God and to do all you can do to glorify Him. I understand the season I'm in. I'm adjusting accordingly. I'm definitely not doing too much or doing more than the capacity that I have time for or I'm able to give in this season, right? I may only be able to give myself in a couple of ways in the season rather than, having my full energy into so many things like I'm always used to. But I'm still able to show up for my friends. I'm still able to fellowship with God. I'm still able to write. I'm still able to teach people. And all of these things contribute to my purpose. So I'm hoping that you guys are getting the gist of, like, building confidence, to walk in your purpose by having that innate knowing that this is why I'm here. This is what I'm called to do. Everything around you is usually pulling you towards your purpose rather than this one big thing that some people get stuck in and think, like, is my job my purpose, or is this project that I'm working on my purpose? I think no, those things can contribute to your purpose, but your core purpose is enjoying God and giving Him glory in all that you do. Right, I'm going to read this newsletter that I wrote in November 21. It's called Less Passion Chasing, More Colin Pulling. Here it goes. When I think of my life, I want to do more things that feel less of a choice and more of a calling, a deep knowing that this was meant to be, that I am living on purpose, doing things in the right way, at the right place, with the right people at the right time. For certain, this is the feeling I had meeting my now husband, dating him, being engaged, and getting married to him. Long after our honeymoon phase of our relationship, and after 7 years now, I am in constant awe of him and admiration, and I have a deep knowing that this is my person and we are at the right stage of life to be getting married, that we are meant to be. But beyond relationships, this theory of less passion chasing and more calling pulling applies to our definition of the work that we do. I used to think the definition of chasing your passion was doing the things that make you come alive each day and chasing that feeling no matter what. But the older I get, and with more life experience under my belt, the less chasing of anything I really want to do. I now also don't adhere to advice that is all about following your passion to find life fulfillment and happiness. Instead, each day I'm leaning more into my calling, my state of being, i.e., who I am, and not just what I'll do. I'll explain. Some people might describe passion as something that lights a fire under your belly, forgetting that fires can be put out, or something you're great at and can do without thinking. This definition I don't agree with, by the way, because as I've mentioned before, you can be great at something and absolutely hate it, which has been, my case a few times. If you know me, you know I love talking about money, making it, growing it, keeping it, spending it, investing it, and everything under the sun to do with it. And for over the last 5 years, I've been a student and then a teacher of personal finance, and I deeply enjoy the satisfaction it brings me to learn and apply and teach the principle to others. Some would define these feelings as passion, and to some extent, they would be right. However, I have gone many weeks and months where I don't feel the fire anymore. I'm not motivated, and it feels like, you know what, maybe I should actually take a break or possibly quit this. But when it happens, I don't panic. I don't think that I've lost my passion, because passion or not, motivation or not, personal finance and what I teach is a calling to me. I do it a lot more easily these days because even without a fire, I'm still able to deliver talks, create content, speak effortlessly about the subject. And it's not only because I am innately passionate about money, but more so because I think it's a calling that pulls me. So no matter how far I steer away from being a personal finance content creator, speaker, writer, author, I believe that it still pulls me in. I never chased this thing, like my ability to be good at talking about money or explaining complex financial products or financial services to people. But I think that that's something that has always called me. And I know it's a calling because of my faith, right? And money, I know, is definitely God's business. And then he made it my business too. And so it wasn't so much of a choice than it was a knowing that this is a part of what I'm supposed to do or be in life, a teacher of personal finance. But that's not my only calling. I always think of myself as a multi-potentialite, or what millennials call a multi-hyphenate, which means I don't believe that I'm called to do only one thing as like my deep specialty, but rather master a few things and execute them well. So I define a multi-hyphenate person as someone who, when asked what their job is or what they do for work, they don't have the standard answer of saying, I'm a lawyer, I'm a banker, I'm an accountant, I work in, as a designer, things like that. Rather, there could be all of those things and then some. So at the moment, I'm great at personal finance, event planning, curating, and storytelling ideas and concepts, motivational speaking, and of course, writing. I know that there is no one size career for me. Rather, I see myself working in all of those things that I'm great at some point or the other, and hopefully mostly all working together with a very unique, dynamic, but curated lifestyle career for me. I do think you can run a passion dry, but I don't think you can run a calling dry, i.e., I don't think you can run your purpose dry. My very busy schedule with all the things that I do and all the projects and passions that I have, it fulfills me rather than drains me most days. especially, when I transitioned from accounting into tech and into a more creative space. And that's not the same for everyone, neither should it be. The point is more finding what works for you as opposed to what society has told you should work for you. You can choose to walk away from your calling. That is possible. You can ignore the pull it will always have on you. And I especially find this with people who have dreams and visions for themselves that are so big and so grandiose that they actually cannot possibly imagine themselves doing that. And most of the time, it's of course easier to just do what is comfortable and what is easy. But really, that can be said about like walking away from your calling. But there would always be that feeling of I am born for more. I should be doing more. But passions can change as seasons do. There was a season in my life where I could not do save, spend, invest anymore. Not because I wasn't as passionate about it anymore. It really wasn't about that. It was just more so there's another purpose in my life right now, which was being a wife and taking care of my husband and just like leading more into my marriage era. So if you tie yourself to a passion and you determine that your passion is your purpose, I think it will disappoint you when it has run its course, when there is no underlying feeling, where there is no deep motivation to do it. You're going to spiral into depression and just probably have an existential crisis. You might feel empty or lost, distraught or confused, but all hope is not lost. So to clarify, you can be passionate about your calling, as I am with personal finance, but it is not always a given, and it is not concurrent with the feeling of fulfilling your life's purpose. Because once the fire is long gone, can you still keep up the discipline and focus to do what you're supposed to do? When it's no longer fun and games and the work settles in, and trust me, you guys, whether you're following your passion, whether you're following your purpose, work is hard. The work that you will do to maintain all of those things that you've been called to do, it is hard. And can you do hard things? Can you show up every day even when there may not even be an immediate reward at the end, when no one is cheering you on, when it doesn't pay you enough and tough times are lasting? Can you stay? Will you stay? So these are the questions that I think about often, and answers that I often uncover about myself with God's help on a daily basis. And so my heart posture for wherever God calls me in whatever season is always a yes. Not always an easy yes, and definitely not without challenges, fights, sometimes straight up ignoring God for a couple of days. But my prayer and heart's desire is always to say yes to where, what, when, and who God called me to be and to do. And I hope that you make that prayer yours too. So that is the newsletter. I will link it in the show notes if you haven't already read it, or if you want to go back and read it again. But the summary of the newsletter, I hope that you got it, which is just literally the title: less passion chasing and more calling pulling, leaning more and aligning yourself more with the things that you're good at, but also the things that you feel God has called me to do this, or to be a gift in this way, or to be a blessing to others in this way. And I think that especially in your 20s, we have a tendency to like overthink things, and there is a place and a time for like thinking and overthinking things, because sometimes overthinking breeds the answers and the direction and the clarity that you're looking for. But oftentimes we overthink things to the point of not actually doing anything, and I think that that is where the issue is, right? And so I want to encourage everyone who's watching, who's listening, to really think about your purpose more as things that you do every day, and understanding the season of life that you are and how that is contributing to your overall purpose and being in life. I have a couple of quotes here that I want to share. The first one is by Leonard Ravenhill. It says, "The opportunity of a lifetime only lasts the lifetime of the opportunity." I think that one is quite self-explanatory. Elaine Welteroth in her book says, "There's no glory to a grind that literally grinds you down in dust." To dust. So I'm going to say it again. There's no glory to a grind that literally grinds you down to dust. So what for me I understood from that quote or that phrase was that when we think about like the reason we're here, and our purpose in life and maybe our passions and how it links to our purpose, if you are doing the wrong thing and you maybe think, but this is my purpose in life. Maybe I'm supposed to be a TV personality, right? Or a content creator, and you feel it in your heart that this is your purpose in life. But you're burnt out, you are unhappy, you're miserable. Maybe you're not even sleeping enough, you're not getting paid enough. That is what this phrase means. There is no glory in a grind that literally grinds you down to dust. Because if you give everything to content creating or being a TV personality in the name of this is my purpose and this is what I'm here to do, there will be no you left to fulfill that purpose in its entirety. And so we really need to think about purpose in the different projects and the different seasons that we have in our lives. And truly, that is what helps us to build the confidence to go after each dream that we have, to follow the passions that we have. And for me, my passion is always changing, right? Now I'm in a season where my passion is like event planning with ATS, for example, doing this YouTube channel and being more out there, I guess, than I probably have been before. And I wouldn't say this is like my purpose, like this one thing that I'm doing, right? Because I know that different seasons of life require different versions of my purpose. But again, my purpose is to enjoy God and give glory to Him in all that I do. And so when this era or when this season changes and the next change or phase might be a different type of passion project or raising a child or having a child or raising a child, then I'm going to lean more into that, right? And that will contribute to, again, giving God glory in what I am finding myself to do. So as I start to round up, I want to actually talk practically about how to build confidence. So here are some of my life lessons that I'm going to share. The first one is do the thing more than you think about or talk about the thing. Procrastination is an arrogant assumption that you always have the time you think you would to do the thing that you're putting off. So this life lesson for me is really a war against procrastination, a war against like overthinking things or being more of a planner than a doer. Like I don't want to be that person. I always want to be the person who is like an executor, who does things. More than I think about things or talk about things, what you will always find me doing is executing. I have an idea, I'm going to run after it. I think I want to do something, I'm likely going to try it. If I fail, I fail. If I perish, I perish. But building my confidence comes by me taking action. And because now I have done a lot of really hard things, I have also accomplished some really great things. I'm being successful at quite a few things. That is how I've been able to practically build my confidence. And so the person that you see here today, the person you're listening to, is someone who has honed in on the things that I am good at, sure. But more than that, it's someone who has always taken action as my next point of clarity. Number 2, hardship is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. Ease is not a sign that you are on the right path. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and learn from it. That is how you'll be able to trust yourself and trust your gut. Guys, this one is a big one. Hardship is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. I think for some of us, it's so easy to be hitting roadblocks whilst we are trying to fulfill our purpose, right? And we think, okay, I'm not supposed to do this because it's too hard. That's not true. Or the other side of that is people who convince themselves that life is so easy. If I just stay on this career path, I keep my head down, I just do what I'm supposed to do, it's easy. And you think that is your right path, and that might actually be wrong. So I want you guys to really take this one on. Like, hardship is not a sign that you're on the wrong path, and that something is easy doesn't mean that you're on the right path. So you have to pray for discernment, but you also have to be able to trust yourself. for me, I have a test that I kind of do in my head when I'm trying on a new project. More than like, am I passionate about it? Do I really want to do it? It's more like, do I have peace about it? So even when I'm hitting roadblocks, even when things are hard, I'm able to move past that idea and that feeling, because I know that this peace represents God, it represents the Holy Spirit. And my relationship with God is such that if I'm not supposed to do things, right, I pray these very hard prayers where I tell God, if I'm not supposed to be interested in this project or in this passion or something, remove that desire in me, make it really difficult for me to have to move forward, right? And whereas if it is supposed to be something I'm going to do or you want me to do, then let it be easy. But even when it is hard, let me know that this hard is not hard, like it is impossible and you're not calling me to do it. And there's a difference. And trusting my gut means really taking time out to really listen, to hear from God, to also ask myself the questions around why I think that I want to do this. Is this the right time? Is this the right season? What is the bigger picture at play here? And I may not always have those answers up front, right? I might just want to put one foot in front of another, and see where it takes me. But the more I'm able to have those decisions and trust those decisions and trust my gut, I'm able to build my confidence. So again, remember that purpose is who you are, not a destination. And I pray that we all get God's grace to be able to figure out our purpose on a daily basis and to walk in it and walk confidently in it and to take up space, because that is what we're here for. We are called to be more, to take up space, to spread the gospel, to have your life as a testimony, right? You don't have to be a minister or someone in ministry to do that, but your everyday actions and how you fulfill purpose by being the best that you can be, so that will give glory to God, I think, is all that we have and all that we should be doing. Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. I hope that you found it useful. I hope that it was helpful to clarify some of the questions that you have around either building your confidence, walking in your purpose, or trying to just figure out that whole sticky middle place that some of us might be in our 20s, where we're like, okay, what is it that I'm called to do? Thank you for listening to me. Please let me know your feedback. Leave some nice things in the comments. Subscribe, share this, all of those good things, guys. And I'll catch you in my next episode. All right, bye.